welcome to Unit 1, Lesson 1 for Grade 10 Applied Math. What we're going to be working on today is solving equations, and in today's lesson we're really looking at solving one-step equations. So there's one thing to undo to get the variable by itself. Remember that solve, when we see that word, it means that we're looking for a variable and we want to know what that variable is equal to, like what number it's equal to. And what we're going to do, here's our rules, is that if we do something to one side, we have to balance it out and do the same thing to the other side of the equation. And we're going to undo those operations by doing the opposite. So the first way I like to start these is to draw a dotted line going down from the equal sign. And then I'm going to look for what the opposite operation is. Here, I want to get m by itself, so I have to get rid of that plus 9 because they're together on one side of the equal sign. The opposite of plus 9 is going to be minus 9. So I'm going to do the minus 9, but to keep it balanced, I have to do that to both sides. Okay? Here, when I do m, I've got plus a 9 and minus 9. So those cancel out. Those are opposites. Then I just have m equals, and then I have to subtract here. 1 minus 9 is negative 8. So all of the ones we're going to do today are just like that. Different operations, doing one step, one opposite operation to get a variable all by itself. So for part B, we're going to start again drawing that dotted line coming down from the equal sign. That'll help us see the balance of where things are. I want to get the y by itself, the letter by itself. And what else do I have with it? I have a minus 2. So I have to do the opposite of minus 2. So I'm going to put plus 2. We know that negative and positive are opposites. So negative 2 plus 2, opposites are gone. Then I just have y equals. And then negative 5 plus 2 gives me negative 3. Make sure you're checking those on your calculator if you're not quite confident with how to do those integer operations. Okay. For C, I'm drawing my line down that middle, looking at my variable. This one's a little bit different because my variable is on the other side. It's on the right-hand side of the equal sign, but it's going to work just the same way. I have to get rid of this minus 3, so I'm going to do the opposite of minus 3. I'm going to do plus 3, and I have to do that on both sides. So here, x minus 3 plus 3 is going to just be x because the minus 3 and the plus 3 are opposites. And on the left, I get 15. This is fine. Having 15 equals x is the exact same thing as x equals 15. It doesn't matter what side of the equal sign your variable ends up on. Okay, so taking a look at D, I'm going to draw my dotted line down from the equal sign and then looking at my opposite operations. I've got plus y here, and I have to get rid of this minus 10 that's with it. What's the opposite of minus 10? I'm going to do plus 10, and I have to do that on both sides. So then on the left, I just have y. Negative 18 plus 10 more is negative 8. Again, checking with a calculator if you're not real confident with your integers. Okay. So in the first 4 examples, we had all adding and subtracting, and we did our opposites. Now, I want you to think, do you remember what operation is here in between the 4 and the x? I don't see a sign. I don't see a plus or a minus or a times or a divide. But the operation that's there, if we have no sign at all, that actually implies multiplying. So I'm going to put my line down the middle, and what's the opposite of multiplying something by 4? So this means 4 times x. We know the opposite of multiply is divide, so I'm going to write divide by 4 on both sides. You can show division with a division sign or with a fraction. Either one are fine, whatever you're more comfortable with. So multiply by 4, divide by 4, those ones cancel each other out. They disappear. On the right-hand side, I have to do negative 16 divided by positive 4. Negative divided by positive is going to be -4. Okay. Next one, put my dotted line down the middle. Now here, fractions, I've got x over -4. So that means divided by -4. And the opposite of divided by is times. So I'm going to multiply by -4 on both sides. Oops, I need a negative there. Okay. So here, dividing by -4 and multiplying by -4, those guys are opposites that cancel out. So now I just have x, and -3 times -4, negative times negative will be +12. The problem with this, and I'm going to show it differently in the next example. If you want to write this, you absolutely can, but you'll notice sometimes that multiplication sign might mix you up and make you think it's an x. So I'll show you another way in the next example of doing the multiplication. So here, again, we've got a division. So the opposite of divide is multiply. So I'm going to put this dotted line down the middle, and instead of showing a times sign, like a x that might look like a variable, we know that brackets mean multiply as well, right? So I'm just going to put times -3 by showing brackets. And that's just another way of showing this. So here, I've got y, and I have a times -3 divided by -3. Those ones cancel out. They're opposite operations. So all I have left is my y. And over here, -3 times 12, brackets instead of a multiply sign, it means the same thing. And I get -36. Okay. The last example for today's lesson, here we've got 12 equals -3x. Remember that this number in front of an x means multiply. So the opposite of multiply is divide. In the last one, I'll just flip back and remind you, I showed division with a division sign. That's absolutely one way to do it. A way that you may have seen also is to show division with a fraction, because fractions mean division as well. So we need to divide out by -3, because -3 times x and then divided by -3, these guys cancel out. So now we get x on the right hand side. 12 divided by -3 is -4. So that is it for Unit 1, Lesson 1. You can go through and make sure that you understand those. Make sure you get those copied into your notes and then give the practice a try.